Hi, I'm Todd Harrell with Prinsco. I'm the Regional East Manager. We're here today at the Alabama Onsite Conference to talk about our Pro 4 septic chamber product and how we look at a level header, serial header from a standpoint of how we connect to each one of the chambers. And then we're going to talk about how the product connects and then also how the end caps connect as well. So I'm just going to start out with our end cap and talk about the way we connect and bring pipe into our end cap. So we can see that we have markings on the side. That's our 7-inch invert. This is our 6-inch invert, and then this is our bottom invert, okay? You can come in these sides, Jeff. You can come in the front right here, in the bottom. You can also come in the tops, right? We can take 3 or 4-inch pipe in any of those. I know here in Alabama you always got to use 4, right? So, but that's how we would come into and you can see how I've got that done in that header. We'll talk about that in a minute. So one thing I want to point out is our splash plate. It connects right here. You just work it loose. It'll pop off. You see these 2 stars? They're just going to go in. We're going to force press them into this hole, into these 2 holes. In place, and then you'll see that they'll stay in place, right? And then because we're coming in all these points, this is where that splash plate goes, right? So, and that's our end cap. I'm going to move down on this other end just to show Jeff how they lock in place. If you'll notice, this is a corrugated end right here, Jeff. You'll notice this tab that's right here. Okay, that tab is going to connect right here on this spot, on this little ledge. And if you'll look, our other end's different. So this bottom tab is going to connect on that end. But as far as you installing those and anyone else, it's not going to change. You just simply put that on, and when you press it down on, those tabs will lock, and then they're locked in place. We go to the other end. Same thing occurs, and they lock in place. So again, it's two different ends to our chamber, but the end cap connects the same way. They just lock in a different spot. So that's our end cap. Also, the way the chambers connect, you'll see that, I don't know if you can pick this up on the camera, but there's a ledge right underneath here. This is a bowl-on-bowl connection, so this bowl is going to go on top. And these clips that are on the outside are going to just clip in place. And you'll see he'll lay it there. And when he presses, you get that click, and then you just lower it down. And you actually get that sound, right? Yeah. You can see this one's been together, how it holds, and that one as well. So that's our press and click and lower method. Then it just pops off by lifting it up. So that's simply how they connect. That's how our end caps connect. And then we'll talk about our penetrations in this. So this idea is that we have a level header, right? So I've drilled at this 7-inch point on all of these. That way we're coming in at 7, we're leaving at 7, in at 7, out at 7, right? Level header, we're keeping everything level. Septic tank, the idea of the septic tank's up here and we're just having a level header. If we're gonna do serial, because in Alabama you guys require to come up and out of the chamber, so we can do that through this method where we can cut these holes out. So we can cut here, here, or here, and these are every 4 feet. So you can just pick your spot. So if the septic tank is in the middle right here, we're just going to come out of that line. We'll elbow in, right? Then we'll pick another one, and we would just elbow out and go into the next trench, right? We just kind of make our way down the field. But you can also do that here and here too if you wanted to, right? So you can use it for the end caps, or we can use it in here for the midlining. And that will be our serial distribution. Obviously this is our Pro 4 36. Our nomenclature is that we actually, for a 3-foot wide trench, the product's not 36 inches wide. It's actually about 33 and a half, 33 and 3/4. But we call it a Pro 4 36 because it's going in a 36-inch trench. our Pro 424 goes in a 2-foot wide trench. So we actually named the product after the trench width that is being installed in. And that product's a little bit over 22 inches. So that's the nomenclature, 4 being that they're 4 foot long. So this is a 4 foot long chamber. So you have the Pro and the 4, and then the number after it is the actual trench width that the product gets installed in. The product we're using, or the resin we're using right now currently, is a resin made out of HDPE, which is high density polyethylene. And that's just a resin that our engineers pick because they feel like it's the best resin for giving us the structural integrity that we want, and not as much breakage. We feel like that resin is not as would not be susceptible to breakage as much. So other than that, you know, we've connected the chamber that goes in. That's pretty much it from a standpoint of your level header and then your serial distribution here in Alabama. Is there any questions you got?
So you got an H10 on the side. Does that mean it's a 10 inch height?
No, so that H10 is actually a load rating, and what that stands for is, you may have heard of H20 load ratings, right? That's highway load rating. That's 32,000 pound wheel axle load. So these chambers were actually tested at 16,000 pound wheel axle load. So we actually had a dump truck very similar to that dump truck that you see there, with gravel in the back. This was buried with 12 inches of cover, and then that truck rolled over that chamber, a series of chambers. We had like 8 of them together. So we had that 16,000 pounds, so that's where that H10 load rating comes from. We had a third-party engineer that was on site to verify that. You'll also notice this UPC code, which is the Uniform Plumbing Code, and there's a test procedure called IAPMO, which is a standard testing, national testing for chambers, for septic chambers, that some states actually require that you pass before you can even submit for approval. And part of that testing is also doing that 16,000 pound wheel axle load with a third-party engineer, and you actually film the video, and one of their engineers from the IAPMO certification team actually witnesses all that while you're doing that live. And you cannot have that seal on there unless you pass that test. So every one of our products that leave, it's not only an internal test we're doing, but we're also doing that through our AOWA testing, which is a national certification for septic chambers. So yeah, good question. Yeah, and then our part number is here on this logo. You see the Pro 436. Our end cap has the Pro 436, so you make sure you're matching up the end cap with the right product. And that's pretty much it.